Recently, users on social media in China shared that Foxconn Interconnect Technology, FIT, a subsidiary of Taiwan's Zhengding Technology Holding, is planning to relocate its Kunshan factory to Vietnam. Videos showed wooden crates piled up at the factory entrance, with several trucks loading goods for transport. Users expressed their thoughts, noting that the factory, which once employed tens of thousands, has seen a significant decline. They added, "If you want to handle foreign orders, you have to go to Vietnam. In China, only the orders no one else wants are left." Reports indicate that Foxconn Kunshan is a Taiwanese company managed by Terry Go's younger brother, Tai Chang-kuo. Terry Go is the founder of Foxconn, the world's largest iPhone assembler. Tai Chang-kuo previously served as the general manager of Foxconn. FIT was founded in 1986, with Foxconn as a major shareholder. Guo integrated Foxconn's cable division into FIT. Initially, FIT was considered part of the Foxconn group. In January, an internal notice from Foxconn Kunshan appeared online. It stated that due to a decline in the European and American markets, demand for consumer products had weakened. As a result, orders from end clients dropped, leading the company to arrange a 6-month leave for some employees. FIT responded to the reports, clarifying that, according to the group's plan, Foxconn Kunshan aimed to boost operational efficiency. They plan to reorganize departments and integrate with factories in South China. FIT assured that production capacity in Kunshan would not be reduced and there were no operational issues. Ms. Lin, a department head at a Taiwanese-owned company in Kunshan, spoke to Radio Free Asia. She said the business environment in Kunshan has worsened significantly. The once thriving scene has disappeared, affecting not just Taiwanese firms but also foreign companies facing economic challenges. Many Taiwanese businesses are struggling to stay afloat. Apart from China's economic downturn, the planned departure of Foxconn Kunshan could be related to increased risks of doing business in China. Recently, the Chinese government detained 4 Taiwanese executives at the Foxconn factory in Zhengzhou. They were accused of non-public bribery, preventing them from returning to Taiwan. On October 8th, Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council referred to Foxconn's statement, saying that employees did not harm the company's interests. They noted that the company had not reported the case to Chinese authorities. The Mainland Affairs Council called the accusations peculiar. They suggested that local law enforcement might have overstepped, which severely damaged business confidence. They urged the Chinese government to conduct a thorough investigation. Earlier, reports indicated that Chinese Foxconn employees had told Taiwanese executives' families that the incident was orchestrated by local forces and Chinese authorities for personal gain. Taiwanese media reported that these Foxconn employees were detained earlier this year by local police in Zhengzhou. They were accused of non-public bribery. Due to insufficient evidence of bribery, 2 were instead charged with misappropriating funds. Spokesperson Zhu Fenglian for China's Taiwan Affairs Office stated that the case involved allegations of non-state employee bribery and misappropriation of funds. She noted that the investigation is still ongoing. The statement did not reveal how many employees were under investigation or their identities. Earlier, Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council confirmed that a senior executive from the Formosa Plastics Group was questioned by local authorities after arriving in Shanghai on September 1st. The Mainland Affairs Council noted that the travel ban on this Taiwanese executive might be related to criminal matters, not political or national security issues. Formosa Plastics released a statement saying they are trying to gather more information. They assured that the executive is safe, free to move, and cooperating with the Chinese government's investigation. The company added that it would continue to provide necessary support. Voice of America quoted Chen Fangyu, a political scientist at Taiwan's Suzhou University. He said, "This case reminds me of last October's tax investigation against Foxconn by the Chinese government. At that time, the company's founder, Terry Go, was running for Taiwan's presidency." Back then, Gu Lixiong, former director of Taiwan's National Security Bureau, suggested that the tax investigation against Foxconn had political motives. Terry Go withdrew from the presidential race in November last year. Chen noted that it's unclear what the Chinese government might be seeking in this case. Neither side has provided more details. However, it's clear that other Taiwanese and foreign companies have faced similar situations before. This case could create a chilling effect in Taiwan's business community, accelerating the trend of Taiwanese companies leaving China. Economist Wang Guocheng from the Tsinghua Institution for Economic Research said some Taiwanese businesses had already started scaling down their operations in China a few years ago, but this incident will push more companies to exit the Chinese market to protect their interests. According to Reuters, China's milestone economic reforms began 40 years ago. The shared culture, language, and low costs attracted numerous Taiwanese companies, leading to billions of dollars in investment. However, Taiwanese investment has sharply declined in recent years due to regional technology disputes. A study by the U.S. think tank Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS, was published in September. It showed that 57% of Taiwanese companies are planning or considering leaving mainland China. This survey was conducted at the end of 2023 with 610 Taiwanese enterprises. The survey listed the top 3 reasons for Taiwanese companies exiting China. High labor costs, 33%, potential supply chain disruptions, 26%, and changes in investment policies, 25%. Concerns over the risk of cross-strait conflict ranked 4th at 24%, showing a decline compared to the previous year. The report noted that while Taiwanese businesses remain concerned about the risks of operating in China, they are adopting diversified strategies instead of fully decoupling. One example is Ms. Lee, a Taiwanese business owner in the stone industry. She told Voice of America that she was part of the wave of Taiwanese businesses entering China in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Back then, numerous Taiwanese enterprises ventured into China together. There were entire industrial chains with upstream, midstream, and downstream factories. Companies related to iPhone production, as well as food brands like Din Tai Fung, and many small and medium-sized enterprises joined this trend. They were attracted by the low cost of raw materials, labor, and land, driving a wave of investments across the strait. However, as many Taiwanese companies leave China, Din Tai Fung restaurant chain announced at the end of August that it would exit the northern China market. This decision reflects the worsening business environment in the country. Ms. Lee explained that the trend of Taiwanese businesses moving to China started to change after Donald Trump was elected U.S. president in 2016. The worsening U.S.-China relationship made businesses rethink their strategies. Taiwanese companies, which had relied heavily on U.S. orders, realized that if trade tensions escalated, the risks could be disastrous. Since 2016, some companies have quietly begun leaving China, with the trend peaking around the pandemic around 2020. At that time, estimates suggested that around 35% of Taiwanese businesses had withdrawn. Ms. Lee noted that after Taiwan's presidential election, there was another surge of companies leaving. This was due to rising trade conflicts between the U.S. and China's cancellation of various cross-strait economic cooperation framework agreements. These changes further pushed Taiwanese companies to exit China. She added that with the global economy slowing down, China's environment is no longer attractive for investment. Taiwanese companies traditionally have built factories where their clients are, and many have moved operations to places like Vietnam, India, Thailand, and Mexico to diversify beyond China. Others have shifted production to the U.S., Japan, and Europe, all aiming to minimize risks. Ms. Lee shared her experience, saying their company still maintains factories in Taiwan and China, but since 2017 they have been expanding into the German market. She explained that Germany is the economic powerhouse of Europe, and the impact of the Russia-Ukraine war has been significant. After the war, there will likely be a wave of reconstruction, which could be a good opportunity for Taiwanese businesses. Chairman Xie Jinghe of Caixin Media has been urging Taiwanese companies to leave China since 2017. He warned that if they wait too long, they might miss the chance to exit. The cost of leaving will only rise, and those still considering leaving are already too late. He mentioned that fees for transferring the Chinese yuan overseas have surged from 3% to 12%, and some now quote over 20%. This means moving money out of China is getting more expensive. During this exit process, the Chinese government has also applied pressure on businesses, using tax audits, land use checks, and other regulatory measures. For example, after Foxconn moved its Zhengzhou factory to India, it caused a wave of unemployment, affecting over 1 million workers. The Chinese government then pressured Foxconn to return and set up a new factory in Henan. However, it's uncommon for companies to come back to China once they've left. He explained, some Taiwanese companies have left, but if they haven't fully exited, they might still face pressure from the Chinese government to come back and set up factories again. Foxconn is in this situation now. He also pointed out another issue. Many early Taiwanese businesses got land at low prices through deals with local Chinese governments. Now, as they try to divest, it's difficult to sell the land. Local governments, struggling financially, are finding ways to reclaim this land. Businesses that exited earlier, like Quanta, one of Taiwan's top electronics giants, managed to move out smoothly. Quanta returned to Taiwan and set up new factories around 2017, but moving out now is much harder than it was before. Xie Jinghe said, for those who haven't left China yet, the chances of leaving now are slim, and the costs are high. This is the current situation for Taiwanese businesses. Apart from the risks for Taiwanese companies, foreign executives have also faced problems, with repeated detentions by the Chinese government. This has raised concerns over employee safety at multinational companies. In August, a senior executive from Japan's Astellas Pharma was charged with espionage, and an Australian journalist, Cheng Lei, was released last year after more than 3 years of detention. Before the Astellas case, Beijing, the U.S. corporate investigation firm Mintz Group, about $1.5 million, accusing it of illegally collecting data. Months earlier, Chinese officials raided the firm's office and detained 5 employees. Similar incidents occurred in 2023. U.S. consulting firm Bain & Co. reported that authorities questioned their Shanghai office staff. Chinese officials also announced a raid on Capvision, a consulting firm based in New York and Shanghai, accusing it of aiding foreign espionage. The Chinese government has detained a senior executive and 2 former employees from British advertising firm WPP Group as well. Beyond foreign executives, ordinary people have also disappeared in China. A 22-year-old Taiwanese man, surnamed Guo, went missing after arriving in Shanghai on August 27th, and his family has sought help from the Taiwanese government. In response, spokesperson Liang Wenjie from Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council said the man was traveling in China with friends. Taiwan's Strait Exchange Foundation has also reached out to Chinese authorities for more information. On September 6th, China's Taiwan Affairs Office confirmed that a court in Wenzhou had sentenced Taiwanese political activist Yang Zhiyuan to 9 years in prison for splitting the state. In June, Beijing announced 22 new measures aimed at punishing what it calls stubborn Taiwan independence advocates, with the maximum penalty being the death sentence. Following this, the Mainland Affairs Council issued a travel advisory for mainland China, recommending Taiwanese avoid unnecessary trips to prevent illegal detention or questioning under tightened security laws. Assistant Professor Wu Sezhi at Taipei University of Marine Technology said these actions show Beijing's focus on national security. He warned that strict measures could have a ripple effect. Wu explained, Chinese airport checks on Taiwanese people's electronic devices are getting stricter. Wang Zhiyuan's sentencing and the disappearance of the 22-year-old Taiwanese man in Shanghai will lead more Taiwanese to reassess the risks of traveling to China. Besides Taiwanese citizens, people from other countries also face challenges leaving China. The California-based Duihua Foundation reported that around 200 Americans are being detained in China, and over 30 are barred from leaving. The foundation focuses on negotiating the release of detainees through dialogue with Chinese authorities. Since China enacted its anti-espionage law in 2015, at least 17 Japanese citizens have been detained on espionage charges. As of November 2025, at least 5 remain in custody. Executive Director John Kam of the Duihua Foundation told Voice of America that since President Xi Jinping took office in 2012, Beijing has increased its use of coercive measures against foreigners. He said the rising number of foreign detentions has led to fewer tourists and foreign workers visiting China. Kam said in a phone interview, China's use of coercive measures and exit bans on foreigners has hurt its image, leading to a drop in foreign investment and tourism. Despite Beijing's efforts to attract more foreign investment, Wu Sezhi said China is unlikely to ease its focus on national security. He emphasized that this remains a priority for the Chinese Communist Party. He said, Beijing still puts politics above the economy. Until its economic policies prove effective, I expect the government will continue doubling down on national security. With China's economy in decline and business risks rising, not only Taiwanese companies, but also more foreign enterprises are expected to leave. Japan is one example. Over the past 30 years, more than 30,000 Japanese companies have invested in China. However, long-standing anti-Japanese sentiment has made it harder for them to operate. Last year, Mitsubishi Motors withdrew from China, and recently, Nippon Steel ended its 20-year partnership with Baoshan Iron and Steel. These moves show that Japanese companies are accelerating their exit from China. As early as July 2020, Japan's Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry launched a subsidy program that encouraged some firms to return to Japan or move to Southeast Asia. The recent attack on a Japanese child in Shenzhen caused national outrage, prompting many Japanese companies to allow employees and families to return home at the company's expense. This could drive more Japanese businesses out of China, making them the next wave of foreign firms to follow the Taiwanese exodus.